Now let's talk about grip. The most important thing about how you hold your sticks is holding the stick so that you get the most bounce, the most rebound, and you have the most control over that rebound. I guess in geometry class they talk about fulcrum and levers and all that kind of stuff. So you want to find a place on the stick where you can balance it on your finger, which is not always the easiest thing for me to do, and use that as the place where you can easily use your fingers and get the most rebound out of the stick. And I can get those bounces just the flick of my wrist and or finger. And jazz drumming, or any drumming really, it really helps because the faster you play, the less motion you want to use from your arm, wrist, etc. So it's all about fine motor. The faster you play, the more you want that motion to be relegated to just your fingers and wrist at the most. So if you can get to the place on your stick where you have the most control and you can get the most rebounds out of your stick from a single strike, then it will help you with all your rudiments when you're playing very fast. We'll demonstrate that later. Now, your left hand. Different styles of music require different grips, I guess, and it's all about comfort again. But in jazz drumming, the grip I saw most growing up was called traditional grip, where you hold the stick between your thumb here and first finger and your middle finger, your ring finger rather, and middle finger. Kind of like that, it creates that kind of shape. And you play using your fingers and wrist. That's my wrist. It's me controlling the bounce with my fingers. For me personally in jazz drumming, I prefer the traditional grip, but there's nothing that says you can't use match grip, which you see more often with popular funk, gospel, rock drummers. Mike Portney used to play with, I guess, Dream Theater, and Vinnie Colaiuta, who played with Herbie Hancock and a host of other people. Max Weinberg with the boss, Bruce Springsteen, is probably the only rock drummer or a guy who I would consider a rock drummer that plays solidly that I've seen with a traditional grip. But you also see him using a lot of his arm, and while that might be a lot of show, I also think it's a power issue. He's doing that to get the sound he wants. And I personally find it easier to get that same kind of power if I'm going to play that loud with match grip. You get the same motion and power playing match grip here as Max does playing traditional and having to kind of move his whole arm. But it's about your own personal preference. For me, it's a sound thing, and maybe it's more of an aesthetic thing, the way it looks. I think it looks cooler if you're playing jazz and you're using the traditional grip than it does when you're playing match. It just, for me, doesn't feel right, and it doesn't look right either. Now, in either grip, again, it's about the fine motor skills. If you're playing match, you want to get your technique to the point where you're practicing rudiments, singles, doubles, triples, etc., and you're using your wrist to initiate the stroke in many cases, and in most cases your fingers to manipulate that stroke. How many bounces do you want out of the stroke? Do you want 2? Then you control that with your fingers. 1 up with your fingers. If you want 3, then again you're using your fingers to control that. 4, I initiate the stroke with my wrist. I control it with my fingers. 5, 6, 7. Same thing with traditional grip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing. I used my thumb and wrist, but I guess thumb in this case counts as a finger.